Life is messy and unpredictable.
Being able to find joy in the weeds of life is so important. I'm Beth.
And I'm Kim, and we are so glad you've joined us as we figure out how to hold joy in one hand and struggle in the other.
Welcome to Joy in the Weeds.
Welcome to Joy in the Weeds.
Oh my word!
And how are your weeds today?
Can you hear Christmas music?
No, I don't hear Christmas music.
Okay, good.
Can you hear Christmas music?
Yes, I have it playing in the other room, and I forgot to turn it off. And I just wondering if it was too loud.
What I see is the glow of my computer and my glasses. If I take my glasses and put them on the top of my
Look at
head,
you.
then everybody is all fuzzy. So,
But then I was gonna say, then you can't see anything. It's okay, Kim. It's okay.
How was your day?
Oh, it was quite a day.
Yes.
it was quite a day. But it's almost over.
But it's almost over. And you get to spend an hour with me.
I
Yay.
do. Oh my goodness.
And this is going to be the last episode of Joy in the Weeds for the year 2022.
It's crazy.
Is it not the nutsiest thing? I mean, if you
Yeah.
think of all this year has been an easy year for me, but for you, it's been nutso. You've had lots going on this year, haven't you?
Yeah, we really have. And I really have. Just the other day, something came up on my Facebook. You know how they do like
memories.
Mm-hmm. And it came up with last time this year, and just the thoughts that last year this idea of moving had not even entered our minds.
Seriously, at Christmas last year, you weren't thinking of moving?
No.
Oh, you have been through a lot.
So by this point, well, it was in December. It was not yet. So it was by Christmas, but it was not yet. And even by Christmas, it really wasn't. It was just like this, ever so faint. Somebody had called. Do you know what I'm saying? But that was it. And that's happened a lot. So it wasn't. Yeah.
Wow.
So yes, it's been a lot.
Which is what we had thought we might talk about with the new year coming. A lot of people make New Year's resolutions or something, try to make changes when the new year starts. And so we thought we might look over the last year and talk about and perhaps help our listeners examine their own past year and how things are different for them and how things have changed and how they've all grown, and then look forward to the new year.
Yeah, you mentioned how you wanted to talk about this, and I hadn't thought about it until after you mentioned it, that a lot of times when we talk about New Year's resolutions, or we talking about making new choices and new life, like it's all about the beginning of something new. And we don't first take time to reflect on the past. And I think that's a really important component. Like, I don't think perhaps we're not doing ourselves justice by just skipping straight to the new without first looking at where we've come and how this past year has been, and maybe even back farther. Maybe it's something in your life that you want to examine back farther. But anyway, for today, you and I are going to examine this last year. Yeah.
So this last year, Beth.
Well, we have to start with me.
Well, yeah.
Why?
Why not? What do you see different in yourself that wasn't there a year ago? Like personally, like as in who you are or how you are in the world.
How I am in the world is very unsettled. Last year, this time, I felt extremely settled. Like we had really come to this place of profoundly believing that we were where we were going to be
Mm.
for the next 10 to 15 years,
Mhm.
and we had for a while kind of knocked around ideas of maybe moving houses or whatever, and especially with the market was so good last year
Mhm.
this time, and
Mhm.
so we had kind of entertained the idea of maybe we sell this place and downsize or do something else, and we had come to the conclusion, "No, we're gonna stay right." It seems so
Surprise.
funny. We're gonna stay right where we are, and we're gonna keep doing what we're doing,
Mm.
and we were both very involved in church, and we
Mhm.
were, um settled in our jobs. Chris
Mhm.
had come to the conclusion that was his last, that would be his last job,
Mhm.
and he'd stay there until he retired, and so everything seemed very settled and very certain,
Mm.
and I find this year is far opposite as it could be. I mean, don't get me wrong, we're at least, we have a house. It's not like we're without a home or anything like that, but everything, there's been so much new and so much different and so many changes, and this office I'm sitting in is still a living disaster because I haven't figured out how to settle in yet. And I don't yeah, I just everything is new. I don't have a secretary right now, and we're in the process of trying to find someone, and so, there's just yeah, everything is unsettled. I've gone from settled to unsettled.
So is there, um how would you describe your peace?
My peace is in knowing that we have made this decision,
Mm.
um, with the assurance. I mean, we really believe that God has opened the doors and led, and so, and I know that the place we are, where what the decisions we made in the last year and coming here was the right. It
Mhm.
was the decision that we were supposed to make, and that always gives me great peace, even
Mm.
in the midst of, you know, a lot
Mhm.
of unsettledness.
Yes, because I was
So,
thinking, um, a lot of times uncertainty creates chaos in
mhm,
our soul, for lack of a better
mhm,
term. Let me just get,
mhm.
dramatic. Um, and I don't get that from you, that there's no chaos. It's just it's an outward unsettledness rather than a lack of inner peace.
Yes.
And
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 there is peace in knowing, that God has led us here and that this
right.
was the right decision. There's a lot of unsettledness, both exteriorly, like in the house and,
Mhm. Mhm.
physically in our physical space, but
Mhm.
there's also unsettledness in just, you know, what is life gonna look like here? I was very
Mm.
confident in what life would look like there because
Mm.
I'd been there for 25 years. I had a
Mhm.
history of what that life was like and
Mm.
our community, and, now we're building a new community and getting to know people, and that is all, it's all very new and very unsettled. There's also, I've noticed that this has brought up for me personally and even in my husband Chris, but just you start questioning yourself,
Mm.
your ability in things, and even I don't know, you when everything when life completely changes, it
Mhm.
opens up all kinds of possibilities, but part of
Mhm.
those possibilities make you question about, at least it does
Mm.
for me, makes me take time to reexamine myself and the things that I'm doing and not doing, and where we wanna move forward.
Mm. Hmm. Are there things that you want to do differently
What,
that
next year? Are we moving
yeah.
on to that part?
No, not just I mean, as you move forward, yeah, I guess. Are there things that
I don't think
don't
I
serve
have.
you anymore?
I I I I think that's what I'm trying to
Trying to
figure
figure
out.
out.
Yeah. You know, just an example, but this is just the house, and there's so many other parts of my life. where this also plays into it, but this is just a physical example that I can share, is that, you know, how I bringing all of my things here to this house look very different than what they did in the old house. And so trying to look at each thing in each room and figure out, okay, so do I really like that? Or
Mm,
was it just something that I had? Or
mm,
did I like that only in the other place, but it really doesn't
mhm,
work here in this space? And then in this space, what does work and what does fit? And I would say, even in relationships and in all aspects of life, I'm asking the same questions, right?
mm,
So it
hmm,
gets and all of that, all those questions and all of that gets it can be very tiring,
mm,
and very unsettled. That's why I say it's more than just unsettled in that, like, when I look around here, there's still boxes and piles and piles and piles, which drives me
mhm,
crazy. But it's also internal unsettledness.
mm.
So, but it's not, don't misunderstand, it's not any regret about
Right,
this.
right,
It's
right,
not thinking that we made a mistake, not in the least,
right.
but it's just everything is different. And so that
Mm,
makes you see everything in a different way. And when you see everything in a different way, then it makes you have questions.
yeah. Yeah, do you think that, see, I've transition and change has been a big part of my life since
Right.
my parents got divorced. So there's
Mhm.
always been constant, consistent change.
Mhm.
Um, so I wonder, after being in a place for 25 years, can you look at that and see I may have been settled and comfortable, and this wasn't good for me, and I can like I'm thinking people, I'm thinking more than just things like these. I continued to be in a situation had I not moved, I would still be in that situation and it's not good for me. Does that make any sense?
Yeah, I don't know that I see it as it not being good for me,
Mm,
but there are definitely things that God had been putting on my heart,
mm,
um, that the move has opened up the possibility for. And so that has been, that's very exciting. But
mm.
anytime you're taken outside of what is comfortable,
Oh, yeah.
it's exciting and challenging all at the same time. You know, I have not moved and had, like, this big a move and whatever in, a very long time, but I did as a girl grow up like you.
Yeah,
I
right,
mean, every 2 years I
right.
moved
Yeah.
and almost couldn't imagine being married to my husband where because of his career, we expected that we would be more, settled, and
Mm,
not moving nearly as much, and I couldn't imagine that, like, that made me very uncomfortable, the idea
mm,
of being settled, and so,
mm,
but, I adjusted and learned, and now, having to make this but it's not just the move, it's, I think part of it is, our age and,
yeah,
we've recently gone through empty nest and we love empty nest, but it's still a new thing that we're adjusting to. And,
sure.
just a few minutes ago, I was cleaning out my fridge because there's been something in there stinking it up. I mean, you know how it is when you're just,
Yes,
your nose tells you there's something
yes,
wrong.
yes.
I never did find it, by the way.
Oh,
Anyway,
dear.
but I went through the whole thing from top to bottom, and there was only a couple. I'm very proud of me, but there were only a couple things that I needed to throw away, where I just made too much, and we've eaten enough leftovers, and we
Mhm,
didn't need any more.
mhm,
Um, and and yet, I looked at that and said, "I still need to work on cooking for 2." And so it was just a in my face physical reminder
mhm,
that I'm getting there, but this is still an adjustment period
mm,
that I haven't completely figured out. And
Well, also with your personality that loves the extra,
mm,
like the
mm,
extravagant, and I
mhm.
don't mean this in any kind of bad way,
No, I
but
get it.
um, so I would imagine that would also extend to when you're cooking,
Oh,
that
for sure.
that the more, um
The kids were just teasing me about this at Thanksgiving, and I think my son asked me, "When have you ever, mom, come to the end of the meal and had just enough food or not enough food? Like, has it ever happened?"
right,
And
right,
I teased him and said, "Well, if it did, it was because your dad didn't let me make." No, I'm just,
right, exactly,
but
exactly.
it's not true. I mean, but I absolutely. And so, but all of that requires adjustment. And
Sure.
so this is a time of huge adjustment for me
Mhm,
personally. And with that, I think you start looking at all aspects of your life if
mhm,
you're willing. And
mhm,
you know, I'm I am definitely looking at it as that this has given us an opportunity, just like I did when our kids left home. What is this new opportunity gives us a an opportunity for new things,
mhm.
and I'm not talking about things,
Yeah,
belongings,
right,
but
right.
just new, and
Mhm,
what might that be? And that
mhm,
opens up all kinds of possibilities, and I am someone who loves to leave my life open with lots of
right,
possibilities,
right.
and for a very long time, I didn't feel like I had many possibilities, and so
Mm.
this is really exciting in a really good way, but it's been a lot all at one
Mhm.
time.
Mm. Well,
So,
and so I mean, I was gonna say
yeah.
quick, but I mean, not really, that's how moves go.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
but you've been like, you moved twice in the last year, not
Yeah.
just once, and
Yeah.
that's extremely stressful.
Yeah. But, yeah, I'm not complaining.
Well, you could if you wanted to.
I'm not.
You
I
could
don't
it's
feel in
hard.
any way like it's something to complain about. I'm just sharing the reality of
Yeah,
it, which
right.
is that there's been a lot of
There's a
unsettledness.
challenge, yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
Mhm.
Well,
All right, so what about you? Enough about me. What about you this last year? Reflection time. Then
this
we'll move forward to
this
forward.
last year, 'cause it was 2 years ago that was crazy for us because we moved.
Mm.
We were actually homeless for 3 weeks. It's a good thing we were at the cottage in Canada. Um, so, um, so this year has actually been a more settled year, um, feeling, just more at peace.
Mm.
Feeling now this is where moving here that I've told Tim numerous times, like, this is where we're gonna retire and die or Jesus is gonna come.
Mm.
Like, I really love being here. I love my home. I love the church. I love where my job. I love my office, all the things. So, um, the biggest things for us, I think, was moving our kids here.
Mm.
That was really important, because neither of them have significant others in their lives. They kind of, they were renting a place together in Boone, and then they moved here and they bought a house together.
Mm.
So that was really the biggest thing, and that's been really nice because with Jared's recent, kidney stone, it's like I didn't have to drive 3.5 hours to go take care of my
Right.
boy.
Right.
Um, and I could bring him to my home and look after him in my home and make a
Right.
bed for him and make him comfortable, and so that was really, really important. And I get to spend 1 day a week, most of the afternoon, I guess it's the afternoon into the early evening with my daughter. She just comes, we just hang out,
Mm.
and that's just been really, really nice.
Mm.
Just to just to have everybody close, and it's also really nice that they go home at the end of the day. Because for some I've got this thing in my head, I don't know, when somebody is here, like, I'm constantly vigilant about what they need and what I'm supposed to do and how I'm supposed to take care of them. Um, so it's kind of nice when they go. I don't have to feed them. If I have extra food, I send when I make a lasagna, I send them a third of it home. No, that's not a problem, but it's not the responsibility on my
Right,
shoulders.
right,
Um, and that so it's like I have the best of both worlds because I have my kids, but then that weight, and I'm not saying that I didn't enjoy. I've loved every stage of my kids. Like I never lamented
right.
that they weren't babies anymore, and so that's what this last year has been like, and I think personally, um, and again, this might just be age. I'm every year I come into my own. I'm more and more comfortable in my own skin.
Mm,
And that feels really good to be comfortable in my own skin, to just walk in the world as me, not in an offensive way. It's like this is me. You're gonna have to put up with it, but just this is me, and hopefully that comes with grace and kindness.
yeah.
But that's been the last year. And my word for last year, well, this year, 2022, was sparkle. Of all the crazy, okay, of all the crazy things, I remember praying. I was like, "Really, Jesus? Sparkle? What on earth is that about?" And what I really think that he's taught me is I don't have to dim my light.
Mm,
And I have spent a lot of years dimming my light so others would be comfortable. And
mm.
I don't and I learned that that's not necessary.
Yeah, it's definitely not. I agree.
Yeah. So that was this year. It was a good year. I mean, we're still unsettled too. I have boxes up in my attic. I don't have a real floor in my living room. We're painting. My my kitchen island is well, we moved the sink to where the stove used to be, and the stove is now where the sink used to be, sort of. And Tim had to cut the island into pieces and then put it back together, but in pieces. It's absolutely fabulous. So, yeah, so I'm on this makeshift kind of jerry-rigged kitchen island, and, so there's adventure and there's fun, but I love it.
Hmm. Yeah, I was thinking when you were talking about first of all, I think it's interesting that you are settled. I also wrote down as I was listening to you coming home because you said like in saying that you don't want to go anywhere else, it kind of feels like it felt like to me anyway, listening to your
So much.
story. It's like I'm finally home.
I feel that way.
Mm,
I feel I have a sense of, guilt for the other districts that we've worked in,
mm,
because they were lovely people and I loved them and they meant something to me.
mm.
And coming here felt and feels like coming home.
Yeah.
It just really does. I've said it from the very beginning.
And then you're more comfortable in who you are, you're more comfortable in your skin, you're just like and then all I kept talking about was how unsettled I am, questioning
Well,
everything. I mean, the
yeah,
contrast is
yeah.
really fascinating.
But isn't that what I mean? That's
It's
life.
almost and I would say, uh, I feel oddly at home. I mean, but I can't say I feel at home yet.
Hmm.
Yeah, I don't feel that yet.
That makes me sad.
No, I don't think it's to be sad at all. It's in some ways I'm very excited about it because like I said before, I felt like I was so I I felt like I was so at home.
Hmm.
This is just like, like it was like the at home where you're in yoga pants and the most cozy sweater,
Mhm.
which is great, but
Mhm.
always.
Mm.
And, like, you love to wear the cozy sweater and the yoga pants or
Mhm.
whatever it is that you like to wear that's super, super comfortable, but a life where you never have any reason
Mhm.
to get dressed
Mhm.
other than that is not
Mm.
like, that's not what I hope for,
Mhm.
and figuratively, that's kind of how I was feeling,
Mm. Mhm.
and here, I feel like, it's I can't sit around in yoga pants and a
You gotta
sweatshirt all
go
the
go
time.
shopping for new clothes. Woohoo! I'll
And
come.
please, people, I'm just speaking figuratively, not
Yes, this is
literally.
all metaphor.
Metaphor, metaphor.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
anyway, so yeah, I'm excited, but I don't feel
You don't feel at
settled.
home yet.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm.
Mm. So what about going forward?
Going forward, I've got some things coming up professionally this coming year, that I'm gonna be certified in EMDR, hopefully very soon, which is really good professionally. There's just because I really wanna hone in on that, like that
Mm,
I want a bullseye, uh, and really build my practice around
mm,
trauma work.
mm.
Um, but I don't feel even though I'm EMDR trained, I don't feel, I don't think it's the right thing to do to word, my practice around trauma work until I have the piece
Until you
of
have the
paper that says
certification. Mhm.
that I'm certified, even though, like, I'm good at it. Like, it's not a it just doesn't feel right. So that's coming. Hopefully by springtime, I will have that. So
Congratulations
that will
again.
feel really good. Been working really hard on trying to navigate because it's not as easy as they make it sound when you get trained because people are complex, like
Mhm,
super complex.
mhm.
Um, I also, I really, it just feels like I, things I don't know. There's a part of me. I'm going to be 55. Well, I by the time this drops, I am 55. But by this recording, I'm going to be 55, and I feel like that's old.
Mm.
And I don't feel old. Like like in my head, I'm like, well, you're 55. What do you have left? There's not like, just fold your hands and put them on your lap and knit sweaters because of the number. That's what my head tells me. But my heart and my being says, no, you've got things to do. Like you've got contributions to make, you've got things to do. Uh, and I've got this nagging voice in the back of my head saying, you did start writing a book 2 bloody years ago. You better finish it. But then there's the other part of me that's like, well, who's gonna publish that? Like, who really cares? Like, whatever. And I don't so there's the uncertainty of what that's gonna look like, and yet there's this drive inside of me that there's things that I need to do. Um, so that's what going forward looks like,
Mm.
is really buckling down on, which I'm not good at. I'm good at starting things, I'm not good at finishing them. Really buckling down on the things that need to get finished.
Mm. You and I are very different in so many ways.
I was telling Tim that the other day.
But then
And then we're very similar in other
then
ways.
whew,
Yeah.
starting and not finishing is,
It's hard because that first inertia when you start something is
mhm.
so wonderful. It feels so good, but then it's just like, oh, this
I was gonna
is
say, do you know what keeps you from
fear,
finishing? Fear,
fear,
yeah, me too.
fear.
Fear is the
It's all fear. It's all fear and that, oh, why bother? Um, it's been said before, you're not really that good. All those things. It's all fear.
yeah, I agree with you, for me too, it's the same.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And I hate it. I hate it and I let it win way too many times.
So how do we combat the fear?
Well, I was just thinking fear, but laziness also. Fear in my world, and I'm really just thinking about this story that I'm writing, which may not it may end up just being a what do they call it? A novella because it's fiction.
Mhm.
Um, um, then it might not be enough of a story to be, that many, but it's really fear and laziness because if I carve the time out, if I just purpose and like this is what you're doing and you're going to do it, I'll do it. I enjoy doing it when I do it.
Mhm.
Um and fear and laziness are bedfellows. And the fear tells the laziness, you don't have to, and then the laziness gives into the fear.
Yeah. Do you have a word for next year?
I do.
Are you gonna share it? No?
And Jesus and I had another conversation about this one because this one is messy for me. Um, Literally the other day, I was praying and the word holy
Mm.
came to my mind, and I'm like, really, holy, Jesus, really? Like that doesn't make any sense. Like that's just the first word that came to my head. Like that's ridiculous. So I prayed about it more, and then it got reinforced, and then I told Jesus, I'm like, you're going to have to make it super obvious that that's my word. Like, you're just going to have to make it, like, it's going to have to come from not my head. Like, it's going to have to come from an outside source. And, and I was thinking, well, if that's what it is, maybe the sermon on Sabbath, or maybe I'll hear something on the radio. Well, no, that is not where I heard it on the outside of my head. I was literally on that same day, I sat down on the couch to do a crossword puzzle. Guess what one of the words in the crossword puzzle was?
That's
Holy.
brilliant.
Like, really? I looked at I'm looking down on, I think it was like 23 across, and it said holy. I'm like, really, Jesus? Like, I guess you made it obvious. So that's what it is. And I know that it's connected to 2022's word, like the sparkle and the holiness go together,
Mm.
like holy
Mm.
go together.
Mhm.
Um, and holy can be dangerous for me because I'm a recovering perfectionist.
Mhm.
And I don't know what it means.
Mm.
I don't know what Jesus is after.
Mhm.
So I'm a little scared. Um and that's what it is.
Hmm. It's
Do
gonna
you
be fun to hear how that yeah, how that plays out is what I wanted to say, but then I thought I was trying to come up with a more eloquent way of saying it, but whatever. How that plays out.
It works. Do you have a word? Did you have a word for this year or
I did not.
no?
Listen, this year.
Well, yeah, I mean you had so much going on. It's like tenacity.
No. Uh,
Survival, that's your worst.
one foot in front of the other. I know it's not a word, but it
Yeah.
was a phrase that was my life.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I don't know that I have a word yet. If I come up with it, I'll let you know on a future
Mhm,
podcast, but I don't know
mhm,
yet. Um, I do know, besides wanting to be settled in some ways and embracing the unsettledness in other ways.
mhm,
um, I know that there's there is a lot of self-doubt that
mm,
keeps, which is connected to fear and all kinds of
mhm,
other things, but that just keeps like creeping in. I mean, it was really
mhm,
interesting. I had a conversation with someone, and we'll learn more about this later, but in the next year. But I had a conversation with someone, and uh, at some point she said, "So, what do you do?" And so I shared with her what I did, and she's a young woman,
mm,
very young, and she after I got done sharing with her kind of what I do, she basically said, "Wow, you do exactly what I dream of someday being able to do." And then
Mm.
she went on to elaborate, and I won't get into all that, but bottom line was I kind of saw, um, myself through her eyes in the way she was
Mm.
talking about it, and I realized that I don't uh, that how I feel about myself, or how I um that my perception of how I'm doing does not match number 1, how some people may perceive it, and number 2, what I'm actually doing. Like, they're not the same.
Isn't that I hate that.
Yeah. Mhm.
Um,
Yeah.
because
So
sometimes w people I have I've been in contact with, um, they perceive themselves higher than which like, they're and then others are like, they perceive themselves as less than
mhm.
who they really are. Um, it
Yeah.
seems like our perceptions of ourselves are totally
Really warped.
so warped,
Really warped. And
which then I get scared. It's like, "Okay, Lord, do I think I'm
yes,
better than
and
myself?" Do I
yes, and
start thinking I'm better than
then
I really am?
I start wondering, well, how does it really what does it really matter?
Yeah,
Is that just self-absorption, blah, blah, blah,
yeah,
blah, blah,
yeah,
like, it doesn't, like, get out of your own head, like, what is it
yeah.
anyway? And blah, 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 blah. But here's the deal. It does matter when it cripples me.
Yes, yes, when it holds you back, yes,
Yes, then it matters.
because
And
you're not living fully.
correct. So the only thing I can say is I have come to the conclusion that I don't know that I really care what I think about myself
Hmm.
so much as I want to do
Mm.
regardless of what I think of myself.
Mm.
Does that make sense?
Mhm.
Like, not keep it from letting me move forward,
Mm.
not keep it from letting me pursue and do the things that I know I really do want to do. I
Yeah.
just letting my head get in the way. So, I don't really have a word for that.
Maybe it's another phrase, "Do it scared." It's, I
Yeah,
think Elise Myers
yeah,
on TikTok
yeah,
and Instagram and wherever, she says that a lot.
that's right.
Just
Yes,
do it scared.
yes, exactly. And that is for sure my goal for moving forward this next year. And I'm really poised in an absolute perfect position to do that because
Mm.
everything is new and everything is unsettled and
Mm.
everything is terrifying. And we're having our neighbors all come over this coming Sunday night. And these are
Y
people that I
You're
basically
so
don't know at all.
brave. Oh my
And my
word.
house is not ready, and I don't know them well enough to even know, like, really what should I serve or what shouldn't I serve, and how should I serve it, and then
Wow.
I anyway, but I know I want to be
Yeah.
the person who invites their neighbor
Yeah.
over. That is very important to me.
Yeah.
So, I
So you're
told
gonna do it.
Chris we are gonna send out that invite tonight. Like, this was,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
a
yeah, yeah,
week
yeah.
or so ago, and I said, "We're just gonna write the email, we're gonna send it, and then we're gonna figure it all out." Because once the invite's out,
Yeah, then you're stuck.
you're stuck. And I'm
Wow.
really thankful we're doing it, but it's just like, what did you say? Doing it scared?
Do it scared, yeah.
Do it scared. And I don't know that I guess I don't know that I feel scared as much as just, "Ooh, this just really unsettled, uncomfortable."
Mhm.
Um, I yeah. So,
Mm.
anyway, I'm just gonna do it. Just do
Mhm.
it. I thought, that's so old,
Yeah, well, it's okay.
but
It works.
that's kind of what I want to do this
Yeah.
year is, There's so many times, like, I wanna post something on social media, and then I think, "Okay, but wait, think about this," or, "But does that really matter?" Or
Mhm.
you know what I'm saying? And then I talk myself right out of it.
Mhm.
So then I don't, and then
Yeah.
I go weeks, and then I feel like, "Oh,
Yeah.
you really should, but it's
Yeah.
been so long, you better make it good."
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
and then I don't wanna ever, like, I don't wanna be fake, I wanna be genuine,
Right.
and I want and oh, anyway, so
It's a lot.
do it, just do it,
Do it.
no matter how uncomfortable, no matter how scared,
And who is it?
no matter how inadequate I
Be
feel.
be okay with, oh, what's that? Shoot. Um, I heard it's this author, and he wrote this book called Soundtracks,
Hmm,
and he says, um, "Be okay with doing it badly for the first time," or something like that. Like, if you're doing something for the first time, of course you're gonna do it badly. Duh. So just
that's right,
do it
that's right.
badly. Do it badly,
Yeah,
which I think is really good because
which is it's so much better than not doing.
exactly.
Because you're always the
Exactly.
first time, you're always even the
Exactly.
second time, even the
And
fifth time maybe,
exactly.
but you have to have a first, second, third, fourth, and fifth
Yeah,
time,
yeah.
and
I
so you if you never do, you never get to the 6th
right.
or the 10th or the 100th,
Yeah,
so it's just
exactly right.
you just have to keep moving forward.
Yeah, it's we're so, we're so, focused on perfectionism and do whatever, shiny, um, accomplishment. We're so fixated, that's the word I'm looking for. We're so fixated on that,
Mhm.
that we don't allow ourselves, and maybe probably
And
other
probably
people
others. Yes.
to do things badly as they're learning. And what is it? Annie F. Downs says that the road to overnight success takes a very long time because it's not really overnight success.
Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
Yeah, yeah.
So there you have it.
So there you have it.
That's my before and going forward.
Yeah, and
Oh.
probably the people who are listening, that's probably the same. Either they're going into unsettledness or they are going into settledness and they have been unsettled or whatever.
Yeah. So I do, I will say, I've said this before, and maybe it's just my every year thing, but I really, in conjunction with just doing it well, even though I'm afraid or whatever it is, I also want to continue, but with a new zeal, you might say.
Mhm. Mhm.
um, Diving into the Word of God.
Mm.
That's just so incredibly important to me. Um, I'm working on writing some Bible studies for women, and I just really want to do that out of my own personal journey, right? And you have to have that personal journey for that to do. So I just
Exactly.
want to continue that, just really
Mhm.
diving to his word.
Yeah.
So I probably if there was just like a other than the overall general of just doing it, if there was one little thing that I wanted to, say I really want to focus on, it would be his word.
Mm. Yeah.
I just I passionately believe that so many times it's misunderstood,
Oh, isn't that true? Yeah.
and that makes me sad, and I
Mm.
want to be part of I want to experience it, in a way that is so true and real and raw and relevant.
Mhm.
So, anyway,
Mhm. Anyway, that's a good. That's yeah. Yeah, I'm actually doing two things simultaneously. I'm looking up all the words or all the scriptures that have fear or do not be afraid or do not fear because I want to know the context of all of those because I'm just curious. And I'm slowly going through the gospels. Like
Mm.
last year, not 2022, but 2021, I read the gospels every month.
Mhm. Mhm.
And this year I'm going slowly and I read section by section, just a few verses at a time. And it's yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
All right. Well, this is a
Okay.
slightly shorter one, but we've had
Yes,
so
it
many
is.
go over. That's good.
That's true. So we will just go from here. In the last
So, in the last 24
24
hours,
hours.
or how about this? Since this is the last one of the year,
Oh,
I'm
wow.
gonna mix it up.
Oh, no.
Did you have something good for the last
No.
24 hours?
No,
Okay,
I
okay.
don't know. I was at work all day.
Um, what is something associated with a podcast in the last year that's brought
Oh.
you joy, laughter, or a smile?
Oh, the podcast.
Yeah.
Oh, my word.
I know, I have to think too because I didn't
I
think. We
can't
should have thought
even
about it.
I can't even think. I don't even know what we've done.
That's so funny.
I'm trying to think of who did we interview? Who did we talk to? I don't know. With the podcast.
Yeah. Oh, come on, Kim.
No. I would have to have a list in front of me of all the podcasts we've done. We've done a lot of podcasts, lady.
We have done a lot of podcasts
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
Yes, we have.
I'm getting my years mixed up.
Yeah, I don't have necessarily I'll make it easy on you.
Thanks.
I don't have necessarily any like one standout over another. I do have many um different faces that come to mind, that we did interview and that just like bring a smile to my face. That is for sure. Um, but I would just say, and I know this sounds really cheesy and sappy, but you're just gonna have to deal with it. I no matter how unsettled I feel and how crazy, like even just for this. So I'll be perfectly honest. Kim just sent me a text right beforehand and said, "I'm ready." And I completely forgotten.
Oh.
I was supposed to be traveling and trying to rush back to get here in time to do this podcast. And then I didn't have to travel, and not having to travel completely opened up the possibilities for my day.
That's
And I
hilarious.
just in that completely forgot. And so when you sent me a text, I'm like, "Oh, yes, for sure. Give me a second." And I mean, for those of you that are watching, thankfully almost none of you do. I'm a hot mess right now. I mean, I look like grandma tutu for sure, which I am, so that's okay. But yeah, so I felt a little scattered and just not sure, but there is never a day, like, I don't care what is going on. We press record,
And we do it.
and there's just such joy in having these conversations with you. I really hope that that reads over whoever's listening. Like, I hope they hear that, because there is never a day when it is not a joy just to talk to you and to do this. And I genuinely enjoy every single time. And like I said, I completely forgotten. I felt completely like, okay. Run in there, turn on the computer, you know, forget to turn the Christmas music off in the other room. So I've been hoping you guys weren't hearing it. But, all of that and still is just such a joy. I just really enjoy it.
Yeah. 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 I d- I agree.
You got nothing?
I got nothing. I got nothing. And usually doing things like we're recording this in the evening after.
Mhm. Which is not normal for us.
No, and evenings are hard. Like I'm a morning person,
Mm.
so the evening is just like, and I was driving home from work and I was like, okay, suck it up.
So you were
Suck up
gearing
the
up, and I
energy.
was
Yeah,
completely
exactly. Like we can do this. You got it. And then just sitting down and just having the conversation. Like it was easy.
Yeah.
It was easy. Yeah.
Yay.
Yay.
2022. Check.
Check. Season 4 starting soon.
Yes. All right. Well,
Okay.
hey, for everyone that does listen out there, all 3 of you. No, I'm kidding. There's not even 3. But for everyone out there, thank you so much for listening. Thank you for taking your precious time. And yeah, we'll see you in 2023.
Yeah.
When we examine more joy and more weeds, I'm sure.
I'm definitely. Happy New Year, everybody.
Happy New Year. Thank you so much for joining us today. We would really love to hear from you. So please find us. We're on Facebook and Instagram. Just search for Joy in the Weeds. You can also email us. Our email address is joy@carolinasda.org. That's joy@carolinasda.org. Now, we hope that today, as you navigate the weeds, you will also hold on to moments of joy. This podcast is a production of the Carolina Conference of the Seventh-day Adventist Church.